I know. Oh yeah.
I know this one.
It's just a wedding podcast.
This episode is brought to you by Sound Precision Entertainment and Cufflink Media, Cleveland's best DJ, photo, and video team. When it comes to your big day, why juggle multiple vendors when you can have one amazing team? We're going to save you time, money, and stress because we're better together. From packed dance floors to photos and cinematic video, we've got you covered from I Do to The Last Dance. Book your wedding dream team today at spedj.com and cufflinkmedia.com. Find the links in the description below.
What is going on, guys? We are back with another episode of the It's Just a Wedding podcast. How we doing? How we feeling?
Today is a great day, as always.
Oh, man, it's beautiful. I love life right now.
You sound so
miserable saying that.
Well, as you guys can see, we've got another fantastic guest this week. This time it's Jeremy Rich, the former owner of Selective Sound, now with Rock the House. Now, before we get into any details here, we got to give this man his flowers. So this week, we're sitting down with one of the biggest names in Northeast Ohio's wedding and event scene, Jeremy Rich, a pioneer who helped transform Selective Sound from a premium DJ company into a full-swing production powerhouse, later acquired by Rock the House. We'll dive into his journey, how modern production elevates weddings, and what it really takes to create unforgettable moments. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Rich.
Who is Jeremy Rich?
JR, I'm sorry.
Do you know Jeremy Rich is the only people that say that are bill collectors? So if I owe you money, please let me know.
He does go by JR, so for those of you in the industry, this is JR. But, I didn't know how fancy we need to be here and formal today. So.
I don't care.
So I think we should let the cameras know why Julie is not here, because she's a fan favorite. I'm sure she's missed.
Yeah, you might be missing the only good-looking person on the set today. So we actually have 16 weddings this weekend. Wow. So Julia was pulled away by multiple meetings.
16, huh?
16.
Is that an all-time high?
It's an all-time high.
Boom.
So I'm a little stressed out, but we're making our way through. But yeah, she couldn't be pulled away. So I told her of all the episodes to miss, this is the one, because we have 3 DJs sitting at a table. So I feel like, despite the fact that we don't have a pretty face, we'll have some knowledge here that we can give to people for sure. So
cool. All right.
So when you came in this morning, I understand you guys have tons of events going on right now as well, correct?
Oh, it's wild. It's crazy, but I promised that I would show up and smile and send some love.
Well, that's good. And I hope that, what people take away from this. So what we've really tried to do over the last several months of us starting this podcast is really create a space for, number one, for brides and grooms to listen, maybe get some planning tips, some do's and don'ts. But we've also found that we have a big vendor community now where people who I'm sure who have both worked with you and people who would like to work with you, kind of come in and hear some of the stuff. So having someone like you who's been basically from A to Z in events, from starting off as like a standard, wedding DJ, how we all started, to now you are planning some of the probably the biggest events in the country at times. We think that you're just a wealth of knowledge and resources that, people could probably learn something from. Believe it or not, I think that about you. So,
well, hey, I appreciate it. And, always learning. Never say you know everything, because the only way to survive nowadays is continuing to learn. Those below you, those above you.
You got it. Now, I don't want to get into too much personal detail because obviously that's for you and your family, but many DJs and a big part of our community are wedding DJs. I think they maybe even dream of the fact that like one day maybe they could be like acquired by, a bigger business. So, why don't you give the abridged version of like, how you started Selective Sound, kind of what happened, and then how that led to you being acquired by Rock the House and now as one of their, corporate sales reps, and, you're integrally involved on the day-to-day with, the operations over there.
Well, always loved DJing, and, I was brought up in the Jewish faith. So in the Jewish faith, your mom wants to give you a bar mitzvah when you're 13. And when I was going to all the bar mitzvahs, I was seeing all these DJs. And how cool was it? They pressed a button and everybody went crazy. It was pretty cool. Music was certainly very big in my life, from since I can remember. During the mitzvahs, I saw this and loved it, and through junior high school, I had an opportunity to join a Catholic youth group. Yes, this is true. A Jewish guy joined
I was
a
like,
Catholic
wait a second,
youth
you
group.
just said you were of the Jewish faith. So
You are 100% right. And the reason that we joined it was we had an opportunity once a month to be the DJ. And I thought, I felt like God, because I would press a button and people would go berserk, and I would press another button and they would stop dancing. So it was like being a god. It was in control. You're the center of attention. You got to learn how to MC. That's how I got started. And, slowly from school dances, worked for other DJ companies in the area in Cleveland, learned the business from others for 10, 15 years, went off on my own full-time in 1999. And in 2010, I decided to start having babies. Well, my wife did. I helped a little bit.
Yeah. A very little bit, I bet.
And, truth be told, I'm a great salesman. I'm a great performer. I can always use some tips all the time, but I have a lot of great qualities. However, there are certain things that was hard for me to digest in the business sense. So, paperwork, I hate it. I know you got to do it. Organization, I try to be. I'm a lot better now than I was 30 years ago.
Sure.
Rock the House had approached me and said, hey, we're looking at acquiring a couple companies to help grow our brand. You would still run Selective Sound events, which I still run, and you would just have our inventory to sell. So yes, you're a competitor, but you're also a brand. So you can now sell photo booths, lighting. The reason that was attractive was starting a family. Money isn't flying out, so you're supporting a family on a full-time salary by work. To be able to grow, and this was 2009, to be able to grow as a company, you needed to start offering lighting, which was becoming big, photo booths.
Right.
You form that relationship with the client, they trust you, and you get those extra things. So he picked up the void where I was weak in some things, because he had that structure. Matt Radicelli had owned Rock the House at the time, and I made the move, and in my opinion, it's been 15 plus years. I'm a very rare success story of somebody selling their business and yet continuing to run it. So that's kind of the story. They picked up the slack where I couldn't and didn't have the investment to invest, and it's been a fantastic journey. I will say it was funny because the first year and a half, 2 years that I took over, I was also selling Rock the House weddings.
Oh, I didn't know that.
As well as Selective Sound events. So the funny aspect was when you had the same client calling you guys and Rock the House. So
Did you
Sound
still
events,
say this is JR, or was it a different name?
that had happened. The funny part was, the other sales guy, Jeff Kutz, from Rock the House, who was the main sales social guy, we would literally do back-to-back appointments and set them up purposely in the same office. They would go from my office to his, or his office to mine. Still trying to explain to those same brides today, but at the end of the day, whoever they went with and they were comfortable with, it was under the same, same umbrella. It worked.
So I think one of the things that, I wanted to mention, so a lot of people have asked me, they're like, why in the hell would you have on JR, who runs Selective Sound, currently being a direct competitor, and then is obviously like a brand or a subsidiary of Rock the House, which is also a direct competitor. And for those of you watching who don't know Selective Sound or Rock the House, you need to check these guys out, because Rock the House in particular, these guys are not good for Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, they're very good. But, I mean, these guys, particularly when we're talking 2009 through 2015, I mean, you're talking these guys were amongst the best in the country, which is what catapulted them to now be more of a Midwest AV brand than they even are a social brand. Not that they don't do weddings and mitzvahs, because they do. But, I mean, you want to talk about, most DJs would love to get to the point where they've been. Yeah. And the reason that I'm having you on, and the reason why I don't mind talking about Rock the House and Selective Sound, is because I know and believe that those two brands made our brand a better brand. Because sometimes I go, man, if I was in Columbus, Cincinnati, another market, we would probably be the Rock the House of some of those markets. But because we had you guys right down the street, it made us work harder, it made us invest more, and it just made us, have to be better. And ultimately, I think we're all big believers in when you're raising up the whole industry and we're all trying to raise the bar, that we're just doing what's right by our clients and the entire event industry.
Well, would you say it's fair to say that since they kind of transformed into that AV space, it opened up more market share for you in the wedding space?
I mean, I would say absolutely. I mean, I think what I would love to say is that I was just so good at what I did that I just beat them back. But I think in the real world, they strategically chose to maybe take a little bit less work on the wedding side, which of course did open up some opportunity for us to grab some more market share. So for Matt and Ryan, thank you for that.
Well, listen, let's be realistic. Running a business, owning a business, especially if you're in sales, owning the business, there's nobody to push you. So your competition is indirectly the people that you're talking to. You can vent to, you can, gloat about successes. And, when I met Scott, I kind of, I was open with him. I wasn't hiding anything. And certainly we kind of just chatted. So, truth be told, we didn't take a back seat, into sales. I just think that you were so hungry and so good at what you did, you forced us to take a back seat. So it wasn't us taking a back seat because we wanted to. It was because you guys became one of the top 3, top 4 in the city.
I appreciate it.
And, you put yourself in a position to where you were. So, I mean, we're not going to say no to business, but, if we were getting a few less weddings a year and they were going to you, then we were happy.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like if you lose business, I think like anybody is, you can swallow and lose business when you lose to somebody. Say, you know what, this company does a great job. They are extremely reputable. If I'm going to lose business, like I can live with it. It's when you lose business to one of those companies where you're like, how in the hell am I losing business to one of those companies? And those are the ones that I think at least they keep me up at night. So
you were saying all that, Scott, and he's like. Yes.
So I want to get into, look, man, I appreciate, I think it was important for the viewers to get a little bit of the history, because even what you just said before, like when you first started talking to me, like it was the weirdest thing, Nick. Like, so here was this guy who I was like, okay, this guy was like where I wanted to be. And he was like talking to me so friendly and so kind. And I'm just like, what the fuck does this guy want? Like, I was like, he's got to be some sort of industry
What's his
plan.
motive?
And literally, it is now 10 years later, and he is still just talking nicely. And it's just like a guy who I don't think necessarily had any nefarious reasons.
Maybe he's got a motive still going 20 years later.
Well, that would be the long game for sure. So
I want to be Scott Terranova.
But I do want to get into one of the things that is a huge differentiator between what you do and what I do. And I think it's important because not every client who listens to this is just somebody who's looking for a great high-end wedding DJ production company. Right. And one of the things that, you and Rock the House have taken to another level is this idea of like high-end production elements. So we're talking about LED walls, we're talking about chandeliers, we're talking about ceiling treatments, and probably some other fun stuff that, I don't even know about. So why don't you spend a few minutes kind of talking about as you guys have evolved, like these higher end production elements that you're not going to get at a Sound Precision, you're not going to get at a Cleveland Music Group. Some of these things that are just pretty much right now, you guys are owning the market on some of those things.
Well, I appreciate that, and I wouldn't say owning the market, because if we were, I would have driven here in a lot nicer of a vehicle. However,
the F-150 is not bad, though. I'd take it.
When Pinterest, even Google before that, you're talking, early 2000s, mid 2000s, you started seeing a lot of unique things that were going on in the wedding world as it transformed. Trends, going into the 2010s, you had a LED trend where lighting was no longer conventional. It didn't take a lot of power. It wasn't hot, and you could achieve thousands of different colors. What you saw was a lot of couples going on TikTok, in the last 5-6 years, and seeing a lot of things. When Pinterest came around, we would just ask someone for their Pinterest page, and they would have lighting pictures on there. And that's where this evolved from. Someone shows you a picture, and you're like, yeah, I could do that. Well, I mean, if you can do it, you better damn well do it, and do it good.
Exactly.
And that's what we learned, going around to different conferences, working with other people in the industry, even DJs that do this. We rent a lot of this stuff to our competitors. They're friends, I mean, you keep your friends close and your competitors closer. It's the old saying, but it's the truth. And, seeing these visions of the brides, we've actually had more brides call us and say, I need quotes on chandeliers and lighting because I know how much of an impact it can give, and here's a few pictures. And I'm like, oh, great. And after I'm done with my sales presentation, and we're writing up a contract for lighting, she literally says to me, I say to her, who's your DJ? She goes, we haven't got there yet.
Must be a nice problem to have.
So I don't bring it up. I don't try to sell it. If it comes up and they're comfortable, then fantastic. But, in saying that, there are hundreds of weddings a year we work with where we're just doing lighting or we're just doing a photo booth. We work with other DJs and bands all the time, and it doesn't affect us as long as the couple's happy in the end. I just did a wedding last Wednesday. Yes, a Wednesday wedding.
Yeah, I was like, when you called me and told me, I'm like, what the hell, Wednesday?
I was the lighting guy, and there was another DJ there, and he was actually great, and I introduced myself, and he probably thinks there's a motive, like Scott did.
I did, I'm not going to lie. I was like, what the...
But I commended him on his clean setup and wished him luck, and, I got to do something I've never done and stay at a wedding in a corner and work while somebody else was DJing. Wow. Which fortunately he was DJing and not me because it was a very unique wedding.
So one thing that you said that I think probably resonated with some brides, and I want to dig in just a little bit deeper. So, we experience the same thing. So in the world of TikTok and Pinterest and all the things that are out there right now, people see something and they come to you with these ideas. And, we did a whole episode on trying to be yourself, not necessarily trying to imitate others, trying to be original, a lot of those things.
Right.
But when somebody does come to you, JR, and says like, hey, look, like I like this picture, and they're like, they like this, and they don't even know what that is. So I think, like, how does the educational portion work for you? Like, how do you go about actually taking it from a photo that the bride just says, I like this look or this vibe, into putting a quote together with all of the different items that it's going to take to achieve that, while showing value in said items so they feel like, okay, we're getting good value on our money?
Well, it depends on the sales process, because sometimes lighting is an afterthought and it's one of the last things. And I mean this with all love to my florist friends out there. Some of the high-end decor and floral companies will take a majority of the decor budget because they meet with the bride and groom before we get a chance to.
Right.
It's a tough thing, but you pick your battles.
Right.
The first thing is, if somebody sends me a picture, because that's what I do now, is say, hey, do you have an inspiration board, photos, and they send it to me, I will qualify the customer. Hey, something like this might cost you $5,000 to $10,000. Mm-hmm. Is that in the budget, or does it have an opportunity to become in the budget? Because the last half of the wedding, they're deciding what that decor money is going towards, and it might be floral, but if you look at the venue and you can get to them the same time or even a little bit before of the florist, you can work together to achieve something even better.
Right.
Where it's not just floral, it's a combination of floral, lighting mixed in, disco balls and greenery, big right now.
They're super big. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because in most cases, a collaborative effort is almost always going to be better. I mean, like a quick example. So I know Rock the House actually sells like the magnetic pin spots that go around the room. They can go ceiling tiles, things of that nature. Well, if you've ever seen, centerpieces mid-table with a light like kind of illuminating each centerpiece, like incredible wow factor kind of a look. So there are things that, like, if you take the time to integrate your florist, your lighting guy, your DJ, any other parts of those wedding, generally speaking, you're going to get a much better and more robust kind of look and feel on the back end.
Well, it's a great thing you brought up, because there's many weddings that will hire us to do uplighting in the room, and they don't want the ugly, miscolored incandescent lights coming down. They want a more intimate feel. When you do that as a lighting designer, you have to ask the clients, hey, tell me a little bit about these centerpieces, about your floral. What are your centerpieces looking like? Most weddings that are $100,000 weddings will have significantly priced centerpieces. That's where that question comes in, because you're lowering the light in the center of the room and you have uplighting on the outskirts of the room. So now your $1,200, $1,500 centerpieces are going to be dark and almost worthless, 3/4 of the way through the night. So
Right.
That's where pin spotting comes in. So you're educating them on, hey, here's what we would highly recommend. Do you have to do it? No. But this is how you bring value to your investment. You invested in these centerpieces. Let's take that lighting to enhance the value, your decision in floral.
So would you call that lighting of the centerpiece almost an immersive lighting experience, or is that something totally different to you?
Definitely different, because the center point is the floral piece. We are there to bring more attention to the floral piece.
Okay.
If you look at a floral piece with the lights off, you're going to see it. But if you look at a floral piece with lights on it, it's going to show its natural beauty with the colors, the textures, things like that.
Okay. So let's take it one step beyond pin spotting, because, I gotta ask this question. So in your 25, 30 years of experience, what is the craziest, biggest install that you've done, or not install, but installing of lighting, of equipment, of ambiance that you guys have put into an event, corporate, wedding, or otherwise?
So when you're a florist, a lighting designer, I look at it like we are an artist. We're Picasso. And Picasso could do his work, but he had to have the right tools. So when we have the right client with the right budget, and our tools are more unlimited than limited, we can think outside the box and push the limits. Some of the tent weddings we've done have been absolutely crazy. Biggest challenge in my industry is I can't be at every install. I can't be at every wedding.
Right.
So half of what we do is communication, floor plans, mock-ups, CADs, showing exactly where these lights go. And a lot of these clear span tents, now they have black clear span tents.
Yeah, some of these things are crazy.
I have to hide lighting within beams so they can't be seen, because that's what these planners want.
Yeah, and people are paying for the clear tent to get the vision of the sky, so they don't want it being blocked by big lighting fixtures.
And being in Northeast Ohio, lighting is so different at so many venues, and a lot of people don't think about it. It's hard to sell up lighting to a couple, in my mind, in July at a venue that has all windows, because I know it's not going to be dark till 10 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Right.
And if the DJ's any good, they won't remember the last 2 hours of the night, because they're going to be having so much fun on the dance floor.
Right.
So that's where you look at chandeliers or bistro lighting, something with a warm glow to it that can also have a value during the day.
Yeah. I mean, we tell people that all the time. Like, in my opinion, lighting, especially because we own the photo and video company, we tell our clients, like, look, for the most part, it's going to enhance your photo, it's going to enhance your video, it's going to enhance guest experience. But when you're looking for bang for your buck, yeah, if you're in a window-wrapped room in July, there's probably other ways to spend your dollars that can make them go a little further or have a bit more of an impact on the overall guest experience at a wedding, for sure.
So Do you remember the Wednesday engagement party I did 2 years ago in November with the sparkular coming from the ceiling?
So I remember you sending me. Yeah. So I do remember you telling me about. This was at the Hilton, right?
This was at the Hilton.
I can't believe I remember that. But yeah. So yeah, go ahead. And Nick has not know the story.
I don't know the story.
So we I don't even know how I got this call. Very, very predominant Palestinian family. The mother was from Westlake area, and they lived in Florida. They were very successful people. Dealing with Indian clients, Arabic clients, it's a challenge, and it's only a challenge because of not knowing
the
cultural way of doing things.
Right.
They're abrasive, but they're very loyal. And if you learn how to be on their side and work with them, it's everything. Mm-hmm. And I over the years, I've learned to do that. This wedding was a wedding that not only were we Picasso, we were also, Michelangelo and everybody else in between. There wasn't much of a budget. It was an engagement party that was over $2.2 million, all said and done. We had sparkular falls, we had to bring in from Atlanta, falling from the ceiling. If anybody knows anything about sparkular and downtown hotels, 9 out of 10 of those hotels do not allow it, and we had to get all kinds of permitting and
fire marshals.
Two fire marshals there and fire watches. We actually did a fireworks. We subbed out a fireworks show, a 10-minute fireworks show in the lobby, and it cost more for security and closing down the streets than it did the fireworks show.
Wow!
But they didn't mind paying for it. That had a lot of lighting, and what's unique about that lighting design was video is extremely important to the Arabic culture.
Sure.
So you will see huge booms with weights and people that are just literally controlling those manually. Booms that are 20 feet, 30 feet long. It's absolutely wild. So I had put in a bunch of lighting for that specific reason. So it wasn't just moving lights. It wasn't DJ lights. This was a band, actually a DJ and 2 bands.
And if I remember correctly, didn't you guys this was full scale event decor? Did you fly a spine down the room and you were using that
It wasn't it was 2-3 spines.
Spines.
It was we did video, we had projectors shooting across the room.
And in those fixtures I'm sure there were gobos with patterns, and this was a full lighting design, lightscape.
We had probably had 34 movers on this job. We probably had 12.
And this is in a Hilton ballroom, essentially?
The big ballroom.
Okay. This is the one where, we play weddings in this room, but right. This is next level.
There was 800 people and no bar. Arabics don't drink in public.
That's how it goes, yeah.
34 movers. We had about 100 pin spots. We did some lighting in the hallways because they had so many different food stations. The crab legs alone were $120,000. I saw the shelf of shaved Alaskan king crab. I wanted to steal it, but I have pictures. I can show them to you when we're done. This is true, and it was wild. But we did a lot of panel lights because we knew the video was going to be important. So we had to work in conjunction with the video people. Now, there's always a block and a challenge when you're working with different cultures that speak broken English. Sometimes it's like calling, when your cell phone bill doesn't look right, you're trying to understand the people. That's exactly what the challenge of this wedding was, but they trusted us. It ended up being fantastic. We had some logistic problems with translating from the bands that did not speak a lick of English because they flew them in from Palestine.
Wow.
Really?
And for the record, I did not let them know that I was Jewish.
I bet.
I can see that. You got a Muslim at the table right here. So,
I looked at my buddies. I said, "Thank God they don't know I'm a Jew."
You guys are gonna arm wrestle. We'll solve this whole conflict today. So
I don't think it would be an arm wrestling.
So what was it? Did they just give you an open checkbook and just make it incredible, or do they know what they wanted and they have a little vision?
You're working with a planner. Any wedding like this of this nature, and it's becoming more and more popular. One of the biggest challenges in the lighting industry is you have a lot more planners, but the planners are not as well educated not just on the lighting side, but decor side, and they're just recommending people. This wedding had a planner. It was 30 hours of back and forth.
Wow.
My quote was 3 times of what it was when it started, and they whittled it down. So they did barter. They did say, we're not paying this.
They haggle like crazy.
It's not because they want to save the money. It's because it's what they were taught since they were 2
It's in
years
their
old.
nature.
Whenever we've worked with Indian weddings or like Arabic cultures, it always is like, it feels like it's going to be like a 3-day negotiation until we get to the final number. It's very rare like we present a quote and then it's like, yes, we'd like
Now-
to move forward.
I will say, and I have to add this in, somebody that acts very Arabic is old, and I won't say cheap, but that's what a lot of people say about him. Probably one of the wealthiest and most, I won't say sought after, one of the most popular, well-known basketball players to this day that lives in Akron, Ohio. I won't mention any names, but we've done 3 events for him. He's a multi-billionaire. I'm not saying he's minimum billionaire. And some of the events we did started a lot higher because he wanted certain things through a planner, and he would haggle like it was, somebody off the streets.
Oh, I believe it. And you know what? To be clear, like even when you're a bride, like I think it's important to note that like obviously we all look at this business as our craft, and like anything else, we value what we do. But at least coming from me, like I never have a problem with somebody asking the question, wanting clarification or being explained like why this thing is needed or shows value. To me, that's just being like a smart consumer. So by all means, like as a bride, like don't take that as like, oh my gosh, like you look like a cheap person or a jerk if you ask the question. But just know that, if you're a nurse or if you're a doctor, would you want to go, put in a full day's work and take a 15 or 20% discount on that day's work? Probably not. So, I think it's good to ask the questions, but it's also good to understand that these are people that, this is their profession. This is how you take care of your kids, how I take care of my kids. We pay our mortgages, and this is like what we've chose to do. So I think that's kind of a good point. Now, before we get into a couple of the game things that we do on here, I've been putting all of our guests on record, so we need to understand what was your opinion on the engagement of Travis and Taylor, number one, and what do you think? Big, crazy production? Are they going small and intimate? Like, what's your gut reaction on these two?
Well,
You're like, I don't give a fuck.
I really don't give a fuck. Because chances are neither one of us will even be considered, let alone known about.
We have put it out there and told Taylor and Travis that we would be honored to be part of it. But
I've given Travis some tips on how to be a good groom. So.
You and 400 other people.
more than that, yeah.
There's 3 words. Good for them. Good for them. When they get married, it will not be known about. This is going to be a secret wedding. It just has to be. It could be next week. It could be at the end of the football season. We have no idea. And I am sure with today's society, people will find out about it, and it could be on an island. You'll never know. This wedding will not be publicized. If it is, I will be very shocked.
Okay, that's a good prediction. I feel like a lot of people feel like that's the approach they're taking. The last question I'll ask about Taylor and Travis is, because they have so many resources, like sometimes like I feel like a person who, I don't want to say a poor person, but a person of normal means, they always want bigger. And sometimes a person who has all of the means sometimes like wants to be like grounded and go like smaller, more intimate. So I guess, last prediction would be, do you expect this to be, even if it's in a private setting, something that's like, huge production-wise, Coldplay, or do you think it's going to be something like small, 140 guests of their closest friends and family? Like, what would your prediction be on that?
I'm a little biased in that I used to live in the next city over from the Kelseys, so I know a few people that knew people that grew up with them, and they're both sides of the family are very family-oriented, and that's out there in the public. You see mom and dad in the picture because mom and dad are a big part of their lives, and they still acknowledge that. But, in saying that, I think, you know, I mean, she's what, in her mid-30s? 36?
She's got to be, right?
So she solidified her career. Give her credit. She went through all this. She's only made a couple comments about politics over the years.
Dude, the Swifties are loving you right now. You're going to bat for T Swift right
no,
now.
I mean, it's not that I'm going bad for her. It's just that she's not Miley Cyrus. How's that? And you know, and she's a role model in most cases for things. And I think they'll plan the wedding the way they want. And I think it'll be small and intimate. And they might do a bigger thing. Who knows? I mean, if it's Taylor Swift and Kelsey, maybe the brother will be marrying them too. You know, what's the brother's name? Jason.
Yeah, my wife loves their like she watches the New Heights podcast, and like I mean I've seen clips and stuff, but like Jillian like loves those two.
All I'll say, New Heights podcast is an excellent name.
Well, it is when they're from.
They're from Cleveland Heights.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's an excellent name. I got to give it to them.
So
yeah,
I want to real quick ask this, like more like a philosophical production question than it is before. I'm going to go off script here for a second. We debate this internally all the time, JR. So there is what somebody's willing to pay for and are paying for, and there is what abilities that we have as companies to kind of push the boundaries and new things and excellence. So like I'll give you like a quick example and then I want your opinion. So years ago we were doing our movers for our dance lighting. We would program them on site so that when people would, you know, tink the little glasses, they would go zit and spotlight the bride and groom. It's time to cut the cake. Zit, and they'd go over and spotlight the cake, which photographers hate, by the way. But so these are things that like we can do. But what we found out pretty early on is that people thought it was cool. They, I think, were appreciative of it. But if I would have tried to put a dollar value on that little bit of extra programming, for example, they just didn't care. Mm-hmm. So what is your opinion on that? Like, is it people get what they pay for, or are you someone who intrinsically always wants to kind of push the boundaries?
This is a new podcast, by the way. This is called Sales Training.
Yeah, please. I'm learning something right now.
First off, in this day and age, as Gen Z takes over millennials and a majority of our weddings, you're dealing with more parents and you're dealing with planners. That's why it's, you know, you're educating parents and planners. Developing a relationship with clients. We were just talking about this before the podcast. Some of these people have things on their contract that you told them about, and they don't remember, and they really don't care because they trust you,
right?
And they trust that you're going to give them, you know, a vision. Are there a few clients that are going to, you know, micromanage and know everything? Yes. It's just the nature of the beast. But, you know, in selling, you're selling a vision with lighting. It's not a look. You're selling a vision. So when you have a customer that trusts you, there's plenty of times at weddings where I've done extra lighting just because we sold them a vision.
This episode is brought to you by Sound Precision Entertainment and Cufflink Media, Cleveland's best DJ, photo, and video team. When it comes to your big day, why juggle multiple vendors when you can have one amazing team? We're going to save you time, money, and stress because we're better together. From packed dance floors to photos and cinematic video, we've got you covered from I Do to The Last Dance. Book your wedding dream team today at spedj.com and cufflinkmedia.com. Find the links in the description below.
So, JR, one of the things that we always do on these podcasts, it's one of the more fun things that people look forward to, is we tell clients and people our craziest wedding horror stories, because literally we came up with the name of this podcast. Like, we know weddings are important. It's an extremely busy day, and we treat it as such. But it's not life or death typically, and it's not the end of the world. And sometimes it's just a wedding. So I like to tell a crazy horror story to, like, let most clients know that, like, look, your day might go badly, things might happen, but hopefully not this bad. So with somebody with 30 years of experience, you got to have a couple up your sleeve. So give me a wedding horror story that you can think of off the top of your head.
The juiciest one you have. Like, it's got to be.
Well, I'm going to do one quick one because it'll be funny.
Okay, we'll do that.
My own wedding.
Get out.
Right. Okay. Let's hear it.
So I got married at a place called Lavera, right?
No shit. We did you see the remodel?
Yeah, it looks good.
Beautiful. Nice job there.
La Malfa is about a half an hour away.
Okay.
Had this planning meeting with the officiant, okay, a Jewish reverend, to make my mama happy. And she never showed up.
The Reverend never showed up?
She went to La Malfa.
Oh.
And was wandering around La Malfa trying to figure out where we were.
The Jews were probably schwitzing.
And this was right before cell phones. Like right at the, where she didn't have a cell phone. That's how old I am.
Wow.
he does to you. He's like,
Hey,
he's breaking the fourth wall.
I know you don't know what this is, but I had a beeper.
I know what a beeper is. I'm not that young.
Let me tell you something. If Nick was in that era, he would have been the douchebag, like with like multiple beepers on his belt. Like I know how he would have been. Yeah, for sure. So
they had to call the mayor out of his garden, take a quick shower, and get up there and do the wedding.
Wow.
So it was funny that it happened to me, but we got through it, and I still married my best friend. And
and one of the things that let's give her a shout out. You guys have been married for how many years now?
24 blissful and
that a boy.
happy years.
Blissful. You got to say blissful for sure. Yes. Yeah, you're one of the few. Like me and my wife just celebrated 12 in June. So I feel like we're like the minority. Like it seems like most clients, 2 years in, 50% are done. So we're hanging in there.
That's another podcast I could talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, we have some too.
You and I both know that probably 80% of the weddings we do, if they're going to be together.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I could tell every single wedding if they're going to be together or not.
Well, you know how to tell? If they're apart their entire wedding, because he's with his friends, she's with hers, that's not good.
No, that's not a good look. It happens more often than you would think.
Right.
On the patio, drinking cigars. Girls are dancing on the dance floor.
Drinking cigars? What kind of weddings do you do?
Drinking and cigars,
okay.
Excuse me. So let's go into, do you have any other crazy ones, or are we just
I did a wedding 5 years ago, it was 2-3 years ago, where somebody yells at me to shut the music off at the arcade, and I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, somebody just had a heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we've dealt with this before. Things have happened. I shut the music off, and then I hear a defibrillator.
Whoa,
in the middle of dinner.
You got like the whoop, like that, like the
shocking. I've never heard one except for online, and they formed a circle around this, and
clear.
Fortunately, they got her to the hospital. She was living. That was the report. As entertainers, we have to come out of that and make the best out of a situation like that. And unfortunately, a lot of that is, you can't be sad. You have to be as happy as possible because it's what we do.
It's funny. I tell my DJs, one of the toughest lessons to learn in this business, we all deal with it. We have wife problems, girlfriend problems, financial problems. People get sick, they get ill, relatives die. And all of that stuff that we all carry as humans is terrible. But I tell them that when you walk into a wedding, when you walk between those white lines, the sports analogy, like you have to pretend like you are the happiest guy in the world. There is nowhere you would rather be. And it is a skill in being able to do that, being able to just express yourself in a fun, positive way, even when you might have some heavy shit weighing on the back of your mind. So all the DJs, photographers, wedding professionals that do that on a daily basis, kudos to all of you, because that's not easy.
My father passed away 2 days before Labor Day weekend, and I had 3 weddings back to back. And guess who had to do all 3 weddings? And the professional aspect was not telling a single bride or groom that you were going through that.
Right.
You wanted to because you want to talk about that, but it would have been an excuse, and I had to give them the best time of their life. And what's great about what we do is you're running down the street, and all you see is what you need to in front of you, and that's that event. I've done weddings with 102, 103 fever before, where I went to the hospital after the wedding, but guess what? We crushed the dance floor.
Yep.
It's something we do. It's a program in our brains.
Yeah, it's a wild thing. It's one of the few, industries where, you onboard somebody, you guys deal with the same issues that we do. It's like, listen, you may have been a barista or a server, or you might have worked in retail, but typically in those jobs, there's always somebody else that can take the table. There's always somebody else that can kind of brew the coffee. But when you're a wedding professional, like, you have to think about it like you have a marriage, you've got, your children being born, and you've got maybe like deaths amongst like some of like the bigger events in somebody's life. And like nobody wants to hear that your girlfriend got free tickets to Cedar Point and you can't do a wedding, or nobody wants to hear that you don't feel well and your stomach hurts. I mean, John and I talk about all the time. We did a wedding maybe 2 winters ago where I had to be the MC, so I came in, I did the announcements, I went outside, I would throw up, I'd lay in my truck, I would come in, make announcements, go outside, throw up, and it's just something you got to do. So to all the brides out there, brides and grooms, just know that, the wedding professionals, they are doing everything they can within their power to make this the best night of your life, to be as seamless as possible, and to give you the experience that you're hoping to with your family and friends.
John,
This is true.
did you get sick after being next to him?
That's John.
John, did you get sick after that?
Yeah, okay. He was like, you come in and talk and go outside. Like, this handsome young lad here is Nick. You can always remember because his name is Nicholas, and he will tell everybody that it is Nick, N-I-K, no C. And it is the most annoying thing ever.
My daughter's boyfriend is N-I-K.
Really?
Well, he's an incredible guy.
How long's your daughter been dating this guy? We got a whole new podcast here.
No, 6 months.
Okay, she's in high school or college now?
College.
Better hold on to that Nick with no C.
Yeah.
It's hard to come by.
If he's anything like this Nick with no C, get rid of him. So, so let's do a fun thing. So we like to do a part of the podcast. We call it like red flag, green flag, right? So just some fun buzzwords where we do a scenario. Is it something we would say like, oh, that's a good sign or a bad sign? And if there's anything worth discussing, we'll discuss.
This one is like DJ production based, right? I mean,
Nick put this one together.
If the shoe fits, we know we got to wear it.
So I mean, I already know the answer to my first one, but when a couple has an entrance with their bridal party, red flag or green flag when the couple wants every single individual couple to have their own entrance song from a DJ perspective?
Oh my God, that's as dark red as it gets.
Yes, I agree. It is the worst.
Here, you could put this in your podcast, okay?
Tell them.
It would be like you having sex and your wife stops in the middle right before you're getting to the end and says, I need to go get a cup of coffee.
12 times.
12 times.
Oh, ladies.
And then she's completely ruining the rhythm. She's completing, and you have to start over. It's like, that's exactly what it is.
I have to tell you, you just gave me my favorite analogy since we started this podcast.
That's incredible.
That was great. Yeah, and really, like, ladies, it's like an entrance usually takes anywhere between, let's call it like 8 to 25 seconds, depending on the venue. You're not even getting a chance to like get people into the song and into the moment. So you end up just playing these very short snippet abridged versions that never really get the energy flowing. So
here's what you tell them. Have you been to a sporting event? Yes. You know how when they introduce the team, they're playing a song that sends chills up your spine? That's what you want to do for your wedding. You notice how they never stop the song and go to another song?
This guy's good, man.
This is why he's
OG
in
we brought him
here.
in. He'll tell us everything. We'll be so much better next month.
Yeah, our sales are going to spike 30% after this podcast. All right, Nick, you want to read number 2 there?
Yeah. What happens when the couple wants cold sparks, but the venue says no, but the couple insists on trying to make it work anyways? Is that a red flag or a green flag?
It's a white flag.
Well, I mean, it is a white flag because you have to qualify if it's even possible. We have this all the time. And 99 times out of 100, there is a possibility, but you have to throw out the number dollar-wise of the possibility, because if you're going to spend time working on it, they have to give you a deposit for that, and you have to be very transparent up front that it might not work and you're going to lose this, but if you want it that bad, you need to hire us to send somebody to get a permit to talk to the fire marshal.
So you're saying rules are just suggestions, money could buy that for you?
Yeah, in certain cultures don't believe in permission, but they preach and love forgiveness.
And sometimes we get creative. Like John's done a couple of shows where like they really wanted the sparks. I won't use the venue's name, but they just absolutely not. So we did a thing where like a sparkler exit later at night. We used them outside, so they kind of walked out the room. So there are ways to get creative, but ultimately, guys, you got to remember that it's really about what the venue allows. Okay, how about this one's brutal. A groom who brings in his own playlist on Spotify the day of the wedding.
Well, I mean, that's if it's not a red flag, then you shouldn't be in the business.
Red flag. Look.
Wait, I will
Red
say,
flag.
a great tip, even to this day, find out what they're jamming to in the limo.
That's a good tip. Young DJs, that's a good tip.
Because there might be a couple key songs in there that
This
you
guy's
could
got
throw
some
in at the
game.
end of the night.
That's a pretty good
Some
tip.
ones that they didn't think of. This guy's got some gamer here.
I might have been doing this for a few
Yeah,
years.
you got a few on you.
Go ahead. I didn't
You've
mean
been
to.
doing
I
it
didn't-
almost like 10 times as long as I've been doing it. Longer than I've been alive, man.
All right. Since I had hair.
I'm on my like 4th season right now.
God bless you. You're just getting your feet wet.
Yeah, I know, right? I tell them all the time, like, I forgot more weddings than you've been a
You
part
love
of.
that phrase.
I
You say
love
that
that
about
phrase.
everything.
It's true.
And truth be told, 35 years later, I love this job more now than I ever have. Because we're so involved.
I do enjoy it.
I mean, that's what makes a wedding professional just different. Like, people ask me literally on a daily basis, they're like, Scott, you own the company. Like, why do you work 7 days a week? Why do you do every wedding every Saturday? Like, you know, you could just send guys out. And I like doing it. Like, I come to work every day, and for the most part, it's a job and it has its days, but I enjoy it. I feel like I've been blessed to be able to make a living doing something that I really do love every day. And, you know, I tell him all the time, like, somewhere right now there's a guy in a blast furnace and it's 120 degrees and they're like shoveling coal, and that's what they're doing for a living. And we're talking, you know, about weddings on a podcast. So I feel just blessed.
There's something for everybody, but a great businessman, and this is why you're successful, is because you're actively in the business. If you're not actively in the business, you're not seeing a trend and changes firsthand at the venues. And that's why you deal with your staff, and you lead by example.
Yeah, I agree. I don't ask any of my employees to do anything that I wouldn't do. I really try not to. So if I got to get my fat ass on the ground and tape a cable, you know, I do it. If I got to push a case up a hill, I do it. And, you know, hopefully I live.
So let's do a few more, then we'll get to the next topic here. How do you feel, red or green flag, about a silent disco? Do you even know what that is? You probably know what that is, right?
Well, I know exactly because I sell them.
Okay.
Here's how I feel about it. I feel it's fantastic if you're doing a tent wedding in a backyard, and when the sound ordinance starts at 11, you could extend the wedding till 12 or 1 by adding on a silent disco package. Your DJ just unplugs the speakers, and now it's all silent disco. So I feel good. Do I feel good for an entire wedding silent disco? Hell to the no. People are there to conversate. They're there to talk about life. You have to understand, some of these families only see two people, see these other family members in one aspect, at a funeral or a wedding.
Yep.
So they want to talk at a wedding. They don't want to talk as much at a funeral.
My opinion has always been on the silent disco that if it's done right, I think it's cool. And in my opinion, to do it right is when you have 2 or 3 DJs.
Correct.
And then, you know, the headphones have like a red, a blue, and a green setting, and everybody's dancing together to why they all could potentially be listening to different music. Although I find it a bit hokey and a bit corny, I do see some like kind of cool value to that. If it's one DJ and everybody's just listening to headphones of one DJ playing, I don't find it to be as cool. However, that is clever. I haven't really considered that, where you could potentially extend a noise ordinance with it. So what would normally be 100% red flag for me, I will now make it like a yellow flag, because that reason makes a lot of sense.
I will be honest. I never thought of that. So
Or an after party.
That does extend.
A lot of
little bit.
hotels, you can't, toot their arms. They don't want you paying after 11 o'clock.
I know. It's
All
brutal.
right, we could do another silent disco after party. After parties, Cleveland is way behind. After parties at weddings have been going on for 10 years, if not longer.
Let's get the after party market going, guys. Let's get it moving.
Yeah.
So I know that you have limited time because you got a big core event going on, but before we wrap this thing up today, Nick jumps into a segment that we call the No Tux Given segment, which
Very
is
important.
specific to grooms, because weddings are
Very important.
What's a tux?
It's very, very important.
Yeah, well, a tux used to be a formal wear that men would wear at their wedding, and now it's become, basically wherever the fuck you want. But, one of the things that we've tried to pride ourselves on is so many brides, are all about the wedding. They work with the planners. They're excited. They do all that. And it's like we want to try to find ways to get the groom a bit more involved. And so we've come up with this segment called No Tux Given, which Nick has led, so he feels like it's the most important thing every Thursday at noon. So
I mean, it is important.
So Nick, it's time for. He makes me do that every time.
And I made him come up with a little drop in and everything. It's nice. You're gonna like it.
It's not good.
This one I wanted to do something specific to what you're tailored in, and I want to figure out some groom-centered, interactive entertainment things that we can do for the wedding. Now, you took a call, and on that call, you were talking about a game show with the DJ. You said something like that.
Corporate event, yeah.
So is that something you could see in a wedding?
This could be multiple podcasts on top of this.
I know this. There's gonna be like a part 2 and 3 for sure.
I have 20, 30 clients a year that want to incorporate games into their wedding, and I go, why? And then I realized that it's because there's so many bad DJs that don't know how to create the right atmosphere.
That's fair.
And they're using games as a backup for entertaining people. And it's not our style, but do I see game shows in a wedding? No. It's just...
Yeah, I think game shows might be taking a bit too far, but there are some smaller level things we can do. We've seen live photo walls as people are taking photos. They display live on the walls. How do you feel about that?
I'd have to dig a little bit more into it, but I like the interactivity. I like, the reason you have a photo novelty isn't because you're making extra money. You're providing an alternative form of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be those pockets of guests that never dance, and they're using that more often. They're being entertained. So I like that idea.
Have you guys seen, and I got to imagine if anybody's doing it in Cleveland, it's got to be Rock the House. 3-4 years ago, it got big. I think, well, probably before that, but it got big via Taylor Swift, where they would wear these like LED bracelets, and then like the entire concert would be like a part of the show. I have just now started seeing that extend over to weddings. Is that something that you guys currently do or have looked into, have done?
We certainly offer it. We've done it a couple dozen weddings. It's not a cheap thing.
No.
But at the same token, I guess listen, everything we do is marketing. If you were to put together the right video and show that in it and put that in your reels, I got news for you. You're going to sell it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's $1,000, $1,500. You're going to sell it because that one person will look at it and say, I need that, or I have to have that.
And then I guess we would be doing a disservice if we didn't just ask the question, is there anything that you can think of or seen or done that's unique to the groom and or the groomsmen that you think could be a fun way to kind of get them involved, have them be interactive, something like that you might have seen?
Listen, I'm going to be very, very transparent. And it's in the pre-sales process. It's in the planning meetings where you're basically looking at the groom saying, do you want to make your wife happy the night of your wedding? And he goes, yeah. Are you a dancer? No. Do you know that your wedding is going to be better if you're dancing with your wife the entire night? Because that's where your guests will be. Mm-hmm. And get news for you. You scare the shit out of them. I go, I don't care if you have to be on YouTube and learn how to dance. Shake your shit off, because if your wife wants to be happy, get on that damn dance floor. And if you scare him enough, he'll be on that dance floor. But you have to do it in the sales process. You have to do it in the planning meetings. You can't make them dance. But you're basically telling them, if your wife's a big dancer and you want your dance floor packed, you need to contribute. So it doesn't really answer your question. I just turn it in a different way.
No, and it makes sense. And I got to tell you, so to all the young DJs who have listened to this podcast, you can make checks payable to Jeremy Rich, because he is just giving you nuggets right now.
But listen, all these things I learned from other people. I learned from you. I learned from Nick with a K. I learned how to, keep your hair straight up without it falling down.
No product. It's
okay.
natural.
Well, it's Greek.
Yeah.
There you go. It's,
Probably have some kind
I have
of
to hear about him fucking spraying
cucumber-
rosemary water. In his
He's got
head.
some cucumber
Yeah,
shit in there.
Exactly. It's some bullshit. Exactly. Well, listen, in the essence of time, number one, we both have crazy busy weeks. The fact that we even were able to sit down and do this, I super appreciate it. I do hope that some of the people who watch this, take something from it. If you have any questions, concerns that you want to ask JR, please drop them in the comments. We will make sure that they get to him. As always, guys, we can't do this without, all the bullshit, the subscribing, the liking, the sharing on all social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Things are starting to go really, really well. We're at the 4-month mark. I
Bananas.
think we are just about to hit 1 million views across all 4 platforms. So we're getting close. So
That's
a few
crazy.
more. It's crazy. It just
I might have to watch my first podcast from beginning to end.
Yeah, it's going to be, you're just going to be like, look how good I look, huh?
I listen to a lot of stuff. I don't watch, but
Yeah.
I know how cute I am. So this one would definitely.
Yeah, ladies,
this
definitely
is
tune in.
2
we
million
might have lost
big
a pretty
time.
25-year-old girl, but you have 3 hosses
Yes,
at a table right now. So, thank
Dil-
you so
Dilfs or us.
much. Listen, with that being said, it's just a wedding. Out.
It's Just a Wedding podcast.